So the WNBA are coming off their biggest season of all time. There's been a lot of positive things with the WNBA this season. There really has been, and they're coming off a big season where they got Unrivaled going. They've had a lot of other stuff. There is that kind of new hype in women's basketball, and it is a good time to be a fan of women's basketball. But from some of the stuff that I'm hearing, I have a weird feeling the WNBA is going to enter a lockout, and a lockout that they might not win. Or that might not be good. Not that they not win, but like a lockout that could screw these players worse more than anything. So, the reason why I'm talking about this is it was mentioned in the I mentioned it somewhere. It was mentioned in one article. I'm going to try find it right here, where it was about Unrivaled. It was during the Unrivaled media deal, and it was when they were talking about how it could affect the Players Association's collective bargaining. That the fact the players apparently are going to say, if basically not, they're going to say the players have a possibility of saying, if you don't give us what we want, we're just going to play in Unrivaled. We don't have to play in the WNBA. And again, there's no players that have said that. It is a reporter basically saying that because of Unrivaled now, that is a possibility. But I'm like, there are 30 players in Unrivaled. And I don't think these 30 players know this. If Unrivaled does not get Caitlin Clark, it's not going to succeed. And there is another positive about it. If Juju Watkins becomes as hyped as people hope she's going to be, maybe getting Juju will help them. But like Paige Beckers isn't going to save Unrivaled. And I think with Unrivaled, if you guys saw the WNBA and watched this year, why a lot of they say fans for Caitlin Clark stayed on, and I think a lot of those new fans were very interested. The people that are actually watching the games, not just the people ranting on Twitter, were very interested in Unrivaled, and the players don't seem to care. Which is, for me, the biggest problem in Unrivaled is that these players don't really care. The Lunarells, yeah, no question. I'm not going to doubt them. The Phantom, I've never seen a basketball team care less about sport of basketball than the Phantom. Satu Sabli is just chilling. Sabrina Ionescu is just chilling when she plays. She has said she doesn't want to lock in. And, like, the leagues, obviously, they're not going to be getting many viewers, if that's the case. And now we're looking at a situation where you're seeing more and more talk about potential lockout because of Unrivaled. That these players, if they don't get what they want, that they're more happy in Unrivaled. That they're more happy playing in Unrivaled. They're more happy about the facilities they get in Unrivaled, this and that, and the money they're getting and all this stuff. But, like, I don't think that they're like, realize that the reason why that money is being pumped into Unrivaled is that people are banking on the bubble of women's sports. And I do think that there is a lot of money to be made in it. I think the bubble, it's like it reminds me of the esports bubble, where people are putting money into the wrong sections. I don't think a 3-on-3 women's basketball league is something that's ever going to be profitable. It's just like, that's ever going to make a profit. Or it's ever going to like capture the imagination of the public. Like, players are going to play in the WNBA and people are going to get famous from that. Like Kiki Jefferson's come in and done well and Unrivaled. Most people probably don't even know who the hell she is. It's not going to be anything from that. But if a player comes in to the WNBA and has a few good games, comes in as a relief player and hoops, suddenly overseas teams are interested and people are interested in these players. Like, it's not the same with Unrivaled. Like, Unrivaled has not been a failure by any means, but if the players are out there players try to use Unrivaled as a bargaining chip, the little viewers that Unrivaled gets means that the players could screw themselves. Because if Caitlin Clark does not play in Unrivaled next year, the viewership is going to be in the 100,000 range for most of their games. And that amount of, with the amount of money they're paying their players, and the fact that like people, like you're selling at 800 seater stadiums, I don't think you could sell out a 3,000 seater stadium for Unrivaled. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think you could. And the players are just kind of half-assed and are using it. The players are using it for off-season practice, and people are putting money into Unrivaled as a league because they want it to be a legitimate off-season league compared to WNBA, and a lot of the players are just using it as practice and to get shots up. So, yeah, I don't know. I think with everything that the players have been given on Unrivaled, which is what the players should be getting for their teams, and I think that there is an eventuality and that all teams are going to have that, because the WNBA teams now a lot of the time are being bought by really rich people who just want to get into an American sport, a little bit like the MLS teams originally, or 10 years ago. They're trying to be bought by a lot of rich people that are trying to invest in American sports and have a team and use it as a plaything. They're cool if the team loses $10 million a year. What's 10 million? When I buy the team owns an arena, and with, even if we lose 10 million a year, that land is probably appreciating by a couple of million a year. So it's not even like a long-term loss for these teams, and the value of the teams are continuously going up. But it's and one of the things as well is that Unrivaled, like, Unrivaled wouldn't be in business without the WNBA. And if the WNBA goes into a lockout next season, and there's a good chance of that happening, because I think they're going to, like, the players are talking about getting $1 million a year and stuff, and like, I don't think that's going to happen. I have a feeling the WNBA is going to go into lockout, and a lot of the top players are going to go play in Unrivaled. And they're going to have to, for that to work, they're going to have to make Unrivaled 5v5. They're going to have to get a whole bunch more money into Unrivaled. And with the dwindling TV numbers of Unrivaled this year, I don't see it happening. I just don't see it happening next year. And not Unrivaled, don't see it happening. I don't see them being able to afford to make it a full league. And like, without making players have to take huge pay cuts. And then all of the players' off-season stuff, like their off-season obligations are in Unrivaled, and a lot of them have signed deals that they're allowed to miss certain things because of off-season, Unrivaled, or like commitments and stuff. They've signed deals that they're allowed to do that, and then next season Unrivaled, suddenly they're still having to do that, and there might not be a WNBA season, and what the hell happens with Unrivaled? It just becomes really awkward. And women's basketball is riding momentum right now. And if we don't see a 2026 WNBA season, that momentum might well be halted. The only positive is that Hidalgo, Latson, Juju are all still in college. Silas Swords is a sophomore. Madison Booker's still there. Malaysia for a while, he's going to start. The only positive thing about this whole thing is that college basketball is still there for the momentum, but for women's basketball to continue on the upward trajectory, you are hoping, if there is a lockout, you're hoping that Juju ends up being as hyped as Caitlin Clark was, and if Juju isn't, there might not be anything that kills Caitlin Clark hype more than a damn lockout. But yeah, that is the video. Do you guys think there's going to be a lockout? The more I'm reading, the more likely I think there's going to be one, with the players trying to use Unrivaled as a bargaining chip. And I just think long term that it's a very risky move, because as much as the players are making money in Unrivaled, as much as their Unrivaled facilities are better, the viewership of Unrivaled does not make it seem like it's something that's going to be there longer than 5 years. But anyway, I'll see you guys.